Given to you is p and q are positive integers, alpha, beta are roots of this equation, and for n 0, 1, 2, they have defined an to be this. Now, what are they asking? What is A12? What is A12? And what options do we have? They want A12 in terms of A10 and A11. Okay, so basically we need to get a relation between three consecutive AIs, right? So suppose AN minus 1, AN and AN plus 1. We need a relation between them, right? If we get a relation, we can answer this question. Okay, now what do I know? See, alpha, beta are roots of this equation. So what all do you know once you know that? Of course, you can figure out what is alpha, beta, right? You can solve this equation. What else? Like alpha plus beta is negative b by a. So in this case, it is 1. And what's the product alpha beta? C by a you have learned, right? So in this case it is minus 1. Okay, other things are also there because alpha satisfies this equation. That means alpha squared minus alpha minus 1 is 0. Beta will also satisfy that equation because it is the root of that equation. All this stuff you have in your hand. Okay, now let's focus on getting a relation between these three. Okay, so let's start. So it's totally your wish how you want to start. Let me start like this. Suppose I want to do an plus 1 minus an. Let's say I like to start like that. Okay, and I want to get a relation between an minus 1. So on the right hand side I would like to have an an minus 1 if possible. Okay, it may not be possible. So let's start writing these values. What is an plus 1? So just apply. It's p alpha n plus 1, beta to the power n plus 1. That's an plus 1. And then what is an? P alpha to the power n plus q beta to the power n. Now the only thing we can do is we can aggregate the terms, like this term and this term we can put together. You can clearly see p alpha to the power n is common. So I will take that p alpha to the power n. I will be left with alpha minus 1. Okay. And from this and this term, I can take q beta to the power n common, and I am left with beta n minus 1. Now can I do anything about these things? Alpha minus 1 and beta minus 1. Look at the relations which you have. Which one? This one I can use, right? Because I know that alpha is 1 minus beta. Or I can also say beta is 1 minus alpha. Correct? This relation I can use. Now, what do I get? P alpha. So I have alpha minus 1, right? So I would write minus beta. So Q beta to the power n. Here also, what do I write? Minus alpha. Okay, so what is what I'm left with? Okay, so I can take one alpha and one beta common along with the negative sign. So negative alpha beta I have taken common. What I'm left with? P alpha n minus 1 plus Q beta n minus 1. You see where we are? Yeah, because alpha beta you already know is negative 1. So minus of negative 1. And what is this whole thing from the definition? It's an minus 1, right? Okay, so what did you end up in getting? You end up in getting an plus 1 minus an is an minus 1. Okay, or you can add a an on both sides. So if you add an on both sides, you get this. Okay, you are done. Now what are you going to do? You are going to put n value to be what? 11, right? So if you put n is 11, you get this is 12, and this is 10, and this is 11. Okay, so which option do you think is correct? So you got B option to be correct, right? So see you with another question.